My name's Ron Hart. I'm from Hurricane, West Virginia. Well, unfortunately, this April we got hit with a really bad hailstorm here in Putnam County, and my personal automobile actually happened to be out of the garage. I was out of town on business, and my wife wasn't able to get it back in the garage during the storm. Had significant damage, so as a result of that, we take good care of our property, and I wanted to try to get it back to the best condition possible. Traditionally, my first experience with hail on cars, so I thought, okay, I'm going to find my local body shop. So I went down there. Obviously, it was crazy because the whole county got hit. Initiated a process and found out this was mid-April, end of April, and they told me it would probably most likely be mid to late July before they were even able to get to my vehicle. I was familiar, comfortable with working with them in the past, and I knew their quality and what they stood for. However, personally, I was hoping to try to get this behind me and move on to better things. A couple things on how I found hail surgeons. First of all, my wife and I, we use Facebook, and obviously because of social media and how it works, hail surgeons actually came across our feed. But being born and raised in this area, I'm very familiar with actually the location where they actually have the physical location, and I drove past it, did a little research with what I could see online, and I stopped in, and I think the first person I met was a gentleman by the name of Z, and that began our relationship. Well, first thing I would say is when I came in, they were super welcoming. They were prompt. That was the other thing that really kind of excited me, from the lady at the front desk, but then, you know, Z himself really seemed to engage and began to explain to me their history, why they're here. The fact that they actually have a physical building meant a lot to me as well. They had a business license from the city of Hurricane on display, which made me feel even that much more comfortable. I think, like other folks, everyone can have a little bit of fear when these things happen, right? You're looking for quality, you're looking for someone that's going to communicate and keep you looped in. And I began to feel that with the people at Hail Surgeons. Once I made the decision, they did an estimate. The estimate was actually very prompt. I was able to wait while they did the estimate, but they were very thorough on the estimate. Secondly, they began to explain to me the timeline at which they would take the vehicle. They were very assuring that they wanted to make sure they did it in a timely fashion, but they put quality first. So they didn't want to overcommit on time, but they gave me a window that they felt like that they could meet. So that meant a lot. And the window that they had provided met my expectations. I think I brought it in on a Thursday or a Friday for the estimate. They said they had an opening that following Tuesday that they could begin the repair. They expected to have it back by possibly that Friday or Saturday of the next week, and you know, that certainly excited me. And as importantly, they told me about some of their previous history and markets that they had worked in, and so that was the big driver of why I made the decision to go ahead and initiate and agree to the repair. From a out-of-pocket, I had zero out-of-pocket cost working with them. They were clear on the estimate. They assured me that that would be worst case. Again, you know, I think as a customer, and you're just hearing things of poor experiences in the past with companies coming maybe into a market and then leaving, you know, they just put that concern that I initially had to rest really early into the process. And they were very transparent, easy to communicate throughout the whole process. They communicated by email, by phone calls, by text, and they were super responsive if I had a question during the process as well. Two things that jumped out at me. One was at the end of the repair, I had no idea, but they do a complete full detail of the car. I think that's part of their quality inspection. They want the car cleaned up to ensure they haven't missed anything. And the other thing that made me feel really comfortable and confident throughout the process, and knowing that their stay here in our market could be temporary, they assured me that they have a contractual obligation, even if they left, that if something happened or if a repair was needed down the road, that they had a relationship with a brick and mortar dealer here that we could work back through, and or a technician would be brought in. So those two things also helped, you know, add to the customer experience. And the detail was quite a pleasant surprise. I had no idea they didn't mention it, and it was a great way to get the car back. It looked as good as if not, it had just come off the lot from when I purchased it.